It's good to see everybody. I hope everybody's having a great week. As a reminder, if you guys can put your screen name, your performer name on your screen name, that's always helpful, especially when you guys have questions. We open it up for questions for you guys. Just waiting to get started as everybody joins in. Today's topic that I want to start off with you guys is I want to talk about networking and the importance of networking and why you should always be networking. I've mentioned this before in the past. Some of you may have heard some of the things that we're going to talk about, but again, it's important to kind of discuss all the details about this industry. And this is something that I always talk to all of my clients about as well. So whenever I sign a new client, I kind of have the same conversation with them. Why is networking such an important aspect? This business is really about who you know. It really is. A lot of what happens within this business is because people know each other. A lot of the projects are because people know each other. A lot of the success from actors are because those actors know and met each other along the way, right? So you have actors that move into other roles, they become a successful actor and then they move into another part of the industry like production or directing. And guess what? They bring all of their friends with them. There's a lot of actors you see together in projects, right? So you see them in a movie and you think, wait a second, I saw a movie a couple of years ago with the same guys together. And then I saw a movie 5 years ago and they were all together in the same movie. Why is that? Right? It's because they were networking. Now, we created this lounge, these opportunities for you guys to network, right? That's a part of it. You guys are around like-minded individuals. Everybody's here to excel in this industry, to meet new people, to have success in this industry in one form or another. But you guys are all like-minded, right? Some of you might be sitting in small towns somewhere. I don't know where every single person lives. I know a few of you. I know Sebastian lives in Puerto Rico. I know Jason lives in Jersey. I know Brian lives in Canada. There's a few of you I've met along the way during this process. But some of you might be living in a small town somewhere. And that's part of the reason why you're even a part of this program, because you haven't had a lot of opportunities to get out and be seen by an agent or a manager to get representation. And the lounge is created for the sole purpose of you guys being able to connect and to network. And I'm going to tell a story about something that really hit me when I was watching a documentary. And then I'm going to open it up for some questions for you guys. So, the importance of networking. Does anybody know who Sylvester Stallone is? I've told this story before, but anybody know who Rocky, right? Rocky Balboa. What else? Rambo, a bunch of other stuff. Very successful actor. Well, those of you who know Sylvester Stallone knows that he talks with a lisp. He's kind of got this speech impediment that he was born with. And because of that reason, he was in New York City trying to make it as an actor. And I believe this was back in the 70s. Don't quote me on this. We could probably Google it. But before his career really took off, he was in New York trying to make it as an actor. And he would go to all these auditions. And back then, auditions were in person, right? This was pre-COVID. And I'm sure the industry was a little bit different when it came to auditions in the 70s than it is in today's world, right? But he was going to auditions and he was having no success at all. He was broke. He was running out of money. He was struggling. He was sleeping on friends' couches. And I watched his documentary. And during the documentary, he explains how he was watching a boxing match, a title fight one night. And during that fight, he was so inspired that he went home. He went home after seeing the boxing match, and he wrote Rocky. So he wrote that movie. He said he completed it that night. And then he had a full script for this movie, Rocky, and he went to go try to sell it. Within a week, he had an offer for his script for $100,000. So we're talking 7 days later. Here he is broke. In fact, he even tells a story about how he had to sell his dog. That's how broke he was. But 7 days later, he was watching a boxing title match. He got inspired to write the movie Rocky. One night completed it, and 7 days later had an offer for $100,000. Now, back in the 70s, that would have been probably worth at least twice that what it is today. So we're talking probably in today's terms. Again, I'm not the expert in that. I'm sure somebody can look that up, but I would imagine it would be probably close to about $200,000 in today's terms. Well, he declined it. He declined this offer because his whole goal was he was going to star as Rocky. And the person who gave him that offer for 100,000 did not want him starring as Rocky. They said, "We'll buy your script from you for 100,000, but you're not going to be the lead character." So he declined it. The story, his documentary goes on to explain how he got several more offers and upwards of, I think, $500,000 for his script within the next month. And he declined all of them because he wanted to star in Rocky. And then, if I haven't seen this docuseries in a while, so I might be misquoting it a little bit, but I believe he ended up selling it for $50,000. And then, of course, he's the lead man in the movie. So I think that's what he ended up settling on. Somebody was willing to take that. And the rest is history. Highly successful. Here we go. Somebody's putting it in the chat for me. Thank you. Oh, wow. $100,000 back in 1970 would have been equal to $830,000 today. I was completely wrong on that. So we're talking close to $1 million. Somebody who's broke, so broke, he's sleeping on a friend's couch and selling his dog just to buy some food, right? And he gets, an offer for, in today's terms, about $800,000. How many people would have probably taken that first offer and the rest would have been history? We would never know who Sylvester Stallone is, right? He was the guy who sold a movie script. He would probably still be successful today. I'm sure he would have figured it out, but it would have been a different story, right? So here's the thing that's an amazing story. And I'm watching this documentary, and as most people probably were who have seen it, and you're just like, wow, that's a incredible, inspiring story. I love it. The struggle was real, and he got through it and figured it out and made it. But here's the part in my mind when I was watching this. This is the thing that jumped out at me. It was screaming at me as I'm watching this documentary. And it's probably different than what most people who are watching the documentary, it's probably something different. I think my mind maybe works a little bit different than most people. I would imagine that. But what was going through my head was, how did he get an offer within a week for $100,000? Right? And that was kind of just kind of glossed over. It was just part of the story. So I'm thinking to myself, as a working actor, if you guys are auditioning and auditioning and you decide to write a movie one day, not only is it amazing that he wrote this movie in one night, there's so many parts to the story that people are probably like blown away by. But the part that stood out to me was that he had an offer from somebody to buy his script within a week. Now, what that shows me, or what that tells me, and I'm assuming this because I don't know him personally, so I haven't talked about it, but I think it's a safe assumption, is that even though he was going to all these auditions and failing and not making any money and struggling, he went to auditions for a few years before this happened. He must have been networking the entire time. Because how many of you out there today, if you were to go, you're so inspired by this story tonight, you sit down and you're like, Jeremy inspired me. I'm going to write a movie. And by tomorrow morning, by 8 a.m., the sun's coming up, you have that movie completed, just like Sylvester Stallone did, right? But how many of you could take that next step? How many of you could, within a week, have an offer for almost $800,000? And so, what that shows me is that even though he had no success in this industry up until that point financially, he must have had a really good amount of success with his network. So, back then, we didn't have smartphones. I say we because I may have been around in the 70s. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what year I was born, but no, back then in the 70s, there were no smartphones, right? If you needed to make a call, if you didn't have a phone in your house, you would have to go out to the payphone and borrow some change and stick it in. And so, the networking wasn't as easy back then. Today we have social media, we have all these different things that we could be networking with people, and they're right at the palm of our hand. We have these supercomputers in our hand. And back then, you had to write everything down by hand. If you wanted somebody's phone number, you had to see if they even had a phone number, if they had a house with a phone attached, and then you'd have to write it down. And you know what I'm saying? So his ability to network during these auditions, he must have along the way met some good people, and maybe went to different events to try to get seen by people, and he remembered people, and he must have been friendly enough to have conversations with people and became rememberable, even though he was getting all these rejections along the way. Nobody wanted to work with him because of his speech impediment, because he had this lisp. They couldn't understand sometimes the way he talked. And so that's the power of networking, right? Here is basically a story of somebody who took their network along with their talent. Let's not discount that. Obviously, he has some great talent to write a movie script, but he combined the two, and it helped launch his career into this highly successful actor who's made hundreds of millions of dollars in his life. And so it took him from the point of struggle to where he is, who we know he is today. So that's the power of networking. And I want you guys to just kind of maybe remember that next time you guys are at an event, at your showcase, whatever showcase you guys have coming up, there's other people there, there's other performers there. There's lots of people running around. This is a good opportunity for you to network, right? Because there's other people that are like-minded. It's one thing to go to your local coffee shop every day and network there. It's good practice if you want to do that. If you know your barista, or if you don't know your barista's name, but you see them every day, maybe, practice by saying, "Hey, it's good to see you again. Well, I never caught your name. What was your name again?" And then try to remember it for the tomorrow's coffee, and you could practice at that local coffee shop, but the opportunity of you maybe having a huge success story by grabbing coffee every morning might not be there, right? Because that barista might not be an aspiring director or a movie producer or somebody that's in the industry, right? But it definitely is good practice to try to get used to, networking. But networking at events, networking at your showcases, networking on the lounge. The lounge is created for you guys to meet other people and to reach out and to, encourage others that are out there. Even though everybody's in competition for with each other, right? Not really, because here's the thing, we're all different. So even if all of us were at a showcase tomorrow together, and there's agents and managers that are there and we're all performing together, it feels like a competition, but it's not. And the reason is because every single one of us could get a callback. Why? Because we're all different. It's not like a beauty pageant where there's only one winner and she gets the roses and the tiara and everybody else doesn't like her, right? That's not what these showcases are about. The great thing is that even though you guys are up there and on stage together, you're really not competing. There's not like one prize. So the agents and managers, they can call back as many people as they like, and they can talk to as many of you as they want, and they can, essentially everybody could get representation at that showcase that you're at. So again, industry events, great opportunities to network. Auditions are great opportunities to network. Of course, showcases, great opportunities to network. When you guys get signed, it's even that much more important, because when you have an agent or manager and you start auditioning and they submit you on projects, that's where you get more opportunities to network within the industry, right? So every audition you do, every self tape you do is actually an opportunity to network. And you might think, well, how is that? If I'm at home and I record myself for an audition, how is that even an opportunity for me to network? Because I send it to my agent and he sends it to casting, and then I don't say hi to anybody. I'm just at home by myself. My dog's watching me self tape. How am I networking on this? Well, what it is it's your chance to actually make a fan with the casting director, because casting directors have their favorites. They really do. And if you submit something that they love, they might be like, wow, you know, I love Justin's self tape. That was amazing. I'm going to send this off to the director and hopefully he chooses Justin. They asked me to submit my 4 favorites, so I'm going to include Justin in that and everybody else. And the director might come back to the casting and say, I chose Sam instead of Justin. And that casting director could be very disappointed, but it's not his project, right? He's not the ultimate decision. He just did the hard work to find the top candidates. And so, guess what? That casting director is going to remember Justin and put him aside, and he's going to look up who Justin's agent is and know everything about Justin. So whenever there's another casting that they're working on that Justin's perfect for, they're going to reach out to Justin's agent. So that's the opportunity to network, right? If you do a great job and create fans, you're building a network even behind the scenes that you don't know about. A lot of times when we network, we don't know about some of those opportunities that we're ever going to have or that may be happening behind the scenes, right? We can go into a live in-person audition and or we can go on set for a small project and do a good job and be friendly to everybody and say hi to every person and get the names of everybody that you came in contact with, from the makeup artists to the sound guys who were pinning the microphone on your shirt all day, to the guys who were behind the camera. You were saying hi to everybody. You performed to the best of your ability, and then you walked away. So you have new Instagram followers. You have some people that you're friends with now because of your day on set, but you don't know what the opportunity could be. That director might be having coffee with the editors and watching the footage, and the director be like, "Man, I love her. Isn't she great? And she was so friendly on set, and she was super nice. Like, it was such a pleasure working with her." And they can have these conversations, and then another opportunity comes up where you might be a perfect fit, or they might write you into the next opportunity because they liked you so much on that one small project. So every time you're working, it's an opportunity to network. And again, no matter how big or how small, don't just think, "Oh, I'm at the Grammys, I'm at the Academy Awards. This is my chance to network. I'm going to rub shoulders with all the A-list celebrities, and I'm going to get, I'm going to network so hard." But do that with every project you're on, right? And be excited, even if there's only 5 people on that set of that small project that you're doing. Maybe it's a local TV commercial or something. Network with those people, and it's gonna help you with your career. It's gonna accelerate you as a performer. And part of my job, and part of an agent's job, as a talent manager and agents, our job is to network and make good connections with as many people in the industry as possible. And the reason why that's our job is because the more connections that I have as a talent manager, the more opportunities that my client have later on. So, I might make a friend at an event who's a director, and we hit it off and we message each other. And then, like, maybe I'm in town 6 months later or something. He's like, "Hey, come over to set. I'm working on set. Come check it out. This is the project I'm working on." And, we become good friends over the course of time. And then maybe one day there's a last minute casting that he needs to replace somebody who wasn't able to make it. Like, they already, had everybody in place, and some emergency came up, and guess what? He'll reach out to me like, "Hey, Jeremy, I need somebody who's 28 years old with brown eyes and brown hair, and she's got to be 5'8". Do you have anybody like that?" And that's just a direct message, last minute. And if I had a client like that, obviously I would love to help him with that project. So the importance of networking, I want you guys to really think about that. And some of you might not be extroverts, right? You might not be somebody who's just loud and put yourself out there all the time. What that really is that's just actually you, habit, that's you practicing, right? Some people naturally are very friendly and outgoing, and others have to just practice at it. So if you're the kind of person that you'd rather just be quiet and shy and just kind of, be out of the way and not bother anybody, I want you to start thinking of ways you can challenge yourself. And Don Benjamin was on a few weeks back. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. I know some of you were here, right? And as a social media influencer, he has, I think, 1.5 million followers on his Instagram. And obviously, his movie just came out this last week, I believe it was, or 2 weeks ago. But he was saying how he was naturally not an extrovert, and he wanted to become the type of person that would be able to talk to anybody. And he said when he was on our session that he got in the habit of striking up conversations with people randomly, like at the grocery store, the person that's checking out at the counter, saying something like, "Oh, I like your shirt. Where'd you get that?" Just striking up a random conversation more than just, you know, the normal exchange at the grocery store. Do you want a bag with your products today? Or whatever the cashier normally asks you, right? So putting yourself in that situation, try to think of ways that you can get into the habit of being friendly with people and creating conversations with random strangers. And it's going to make you more comfortable with doing that when you're on set, when you're at networking events, and that sort of thing. So, well, I've talked long enough today. I'm done hearing myself talk, but let's answer some questions. Any questions? I'm going to open it up for questions, you guys. Any questions at all? Feel free. Jason, your hand was raised first. Go ahead and unmute yourself for me.
I appreciate it, Jeremy. How you doing?
Good, good.
Fantastic. I don't have a question, just comments and things. Just wanted to say, like I hear there's like so many mottos out there, but there's like two of them that I live by. But I want it so bad because I know that either whether it's whether there's only rich and then there's poor in this common day, and I don't want to be poor anymore. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I mean. So I want to live the way we should all be living.
Right.
So like that's my self motivation. Seeing, I mean, other than like watching a great movie, seeing that just living the final life, the happiness is exactly what it's all about. So
And
like to me that's my self motivation. Just seeing hearing the stories and just wanting to translate that into a story, which you're doing right now.
right. And
So
you're right.
I just wanted to put that out there. That's all.
The thing is, too, Jason, we don't know, like, obviously he reached out to somebody, people that he made networks with along the way, whether it be a casting director or directors or whoever, but they had to know him enough to want to even answer the phone because usually most of these people have gatekeepers, right? So if you were to try to get a hold of a well-known producer today, you're not going to be able to contact him directly unless you're friends enough with him
Right.
for him to pick up that phone. You would have to call his office, and then they'll vet you through other things. But Jason,
Yeah.
too, the great thing, I love the passion, I love the hustle, I love the drive. And I can't wait to tell your story on one of these sessions in a couple of years. I'm be like, hey, so you guys all know Jason Berner? Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
told
he's a
my
good friend of
story,
mine.
that would be like honestly, I couldn't even imagine. So like you doing that, I would truly be grateful. I'm a very hungry for the success, the ideal, and that would honestly, honest to truth, like that would be amazing. I don't wouldn't even know what to say.
As long as
If
we're
that
invited to your red carpet events when those happen,
absolutely,
that's what we all want, right? Yeah, we're all.
but I gotta
Everybody
make it
likes
first.
that.
I gotta make it first.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
One
not
step
over.
at
The
a
journey's
time.
never over.
Right.
So
Brian, I see your hand.
Yeah. So if we were doing like the virtual showcase
Mhm.
and we want to get contact with networking with them, how would be the best way for us to do it? Will we actually be able to contact them directly or get some numbers or?
So if you're attending a showcase virtually, here's the thing. Yeah, a showcase in person and a showcase virtually, the networking with the agents and managers is no different. Virtually and in person, the agents and managers will watch you perform, and then they'll give a call back to whoever they're interested in. And that's where your networking opportunity will come into place, right? When you are having those one-on-one conversations with those agents and managers. Now, if you do not get a call back from them, they most likely don't want to have a conversation with you. And I don't mean that in a bad way, meaning that they just don't have the time right then. And so most showcases, I think I've been to one where they allowed all the performers to actually come up and say hi to everybody, which was fine. But again, I really am only interested in talking to the ones that I gave a call back to. that day. Does that make sense? So even though all 50 came and said hi to me, it didn't change my mind about the 6 that I had given a call back to. Right. So let's just say you and Devin are at a showcase, Brian and Devin are at a showcase together. And Brian, I loved your performance. I like Devin's performance, but I have somebody just like him on my roster, so I'm not able to work with him. I won't give him a call back this time only because he looks just like one of my other clients. But Brian, you're somebody that I don't have a client that looks like yet, so and you did a great job. So even though both of you are going to say hi to me, I'm really only interested in talking to you. Does that make sense? I don't mind saying hi to Devin, of course. Hi Devin, nice to meet you. Great. Where are you from? And have some small talk. But at the end of the day, I would rather spend my time talking to you and getting to know you more and trying to figure out who you are and where you live and where you come from and if you're somebody that I'd be interested in working with. Does that make sense? So yeah, so virtually or in person, the opportunity to network with the agents and managers is the same. If they give you a call back, that's a great time, obvious, to have those opportunities to conversate and get contact number information and build your network. Now, the performers, that's really where what I want to emphasize. And even in talking with you guys here today, I want to emphasize that at the events, at even this event right now, there's several of us on here. I'm looking at the numbers and there's 500 of us on here right now. Actually, no, not quite that many. But you know what I'm saying? And each and every person on here has a passion, enough of a passion to be in this industry that you guys are here today. And there's even exponentially more members in the lounge that weren't able to make it here today. And all of us are in the entertainment industry. We're not necessarily where we want to be yet, but we're here. And so your opportunity to network, Brian, you might be I don't know all of your skills or gifts or talents that you have, but you may be a singer, a songwriter, an artist, you might be a writer, and as you're developing your next movie, there might be people on here that you really like. You might be like, oh yeah, Jason, like he's got a great look. He'll be the good antagonist for my movie. I could see him being my character that I'm writing up over here. So that's what I'm saying is in the lounges and on these meetings, it's a great chance for you guys to get to know each other and meet other people and be able to, pass ideas off and that's what the lounge is for. I know that you can direct message people in the lounges and you can post, comments on the lounges and you can post your inspiration, what you've done and things like that. There's a lot of cool things that are in there. In fact, I just saw one today. Who was that? And is she here? I'm going to pull that up while I'm thinking about it. But yeah, so network as much as you can within the lounge. That's what it's created for, right? And as it grows, it's just going to get even better. So as the lounge gets bigger and there's more and more performers that are joining, your opportunities are going to grow even more. But I'm going to pull up who posted that. What was that post today? She did her first fashion show this weekend. I want to see who that was. All right. So as I'm looking that up, Devin, what's your question for me?
So I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm not sure. What if we already have representation coming down to this event? Should we let the agents know?
Yes, always be honest with your agents. If you have representation, does not mean you can't get more representation. Okay.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
It just depends on the representation that you currently have, but each of those agents and managers. So, for example, I'll use myself as an example since I can't speak for everybody. But for example, for me, I'm a talent manager. And as a talent manager, I work exclusively with my clients. I don't want to work with a client who has another manager. It just doesn't work out that way. So if you already have a manager, and I know some of you out here do, I cannot work with you, which is fine. I can still be your friend, but it means that just you would not be my client and I would not be your manager, right? So
Right.
now with agents, it's different. So agents, things are different in the industry. It just depends on the agent itself, where they're at, where they're from. So a lot of people can get like a local agent. So depending on where you live, let's just say you're in the middle of Texas and there's a local agent, you're in Austin and there's an agency in Austin that wants to work with you and they're maybe booking you a lot of local work. A national agent or an international agent doesn't mind that you are working with a local agent in Austin. In fact, they like that because you stay busy, hopefully, right? And you're booking some local commercials or some local projects or some local modeling opportunities. But guess what? You're building your resume, you're building your experience, you're building confidence, and it gives them more material to be able to sell you on a national or international level. So as long as the agents are okay with it, you can have multiple agents. Now, sometimes you'll have an agent and you'll meet somebody else along the way, and because you already have the one agent, you're not able to work with that agent. But there's other agents in other areas. There's agents that specialize in just Broadway. If you're looking for theater, Broadway, you can have a Broadway theater agent. If you're looking to do events, there's agencies that operate working on events. So it's really hard to say in your situation, but if you already have representation, just be very honest with everybody that you meet. You're not going to announce it. You're not going to stand up and be like, "Hey guys, before I walk the runway today, just want to let everybody know I have an agent already." But with the callbacks, that's where you'll be honest with those reps that are interested in meeting you. Good question.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Anyone? I'm looking up that post I saw. Trying to find it in the lounge. Questions? Jen, you have a question for me? Hello.
Hey, just a quick question. I'm not even sure if you can answer this, but I remember when I, was first signing up for this, and the lady who was speaking to me said, like, we have a pretty high success rate. Like, I'm going to the October show. I want to be a model. And she said they have like 86% success rate. So I'm wondering if you can talk to us about that at all. Like, what are the odds of, some level of success or being able to find an agent or somebody for representation while we're there?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so as myself, as a talent manager, when I attend these events, I'm there to find talent, and everybody else that's there is there to find new talent as well. So as far as the percentage of success rate, I'm sure it changes for each event, right? But definitely. Now, I've heard some people say, I was in an event and it was 100% success rate. And I tend to think, I was like, wow, that's pretty remarkable. Like 100% of everybody got a callback. I wonder if that's always the case. I get it. If maybe there was only 5 performers at that event, I could see that happening. I could see how, all 5 are great and they all get callbacks. But if you're at a large event, 100 attendees or whatever the amount is, not everybody's necessarily going to get a callback, right? But the agents or managers that are there, they don't tell us, "Oh, Jeremy, you're supposed to you can only give 5 callbacks." Right? So they don't put any restrictions, or they don't tell us anything about that. We're just there. They invite us to be there. "Hey, are you interested in finding good talent? We have our event on this date, this time. Let us know if we can, put you in the schedule." So yes, everybody is there to find talent. The opportunity is great. 80% success rate. That sounds like a good, if they do their job correctly in choosing the right performers, then that should be a good percentage. Now, remember though, that's just the callback rate. So what happens is with the callbacks, everybody's there to meet each of the people. So when I'm watching the event and I'm writing down my callback list, I'll put 20 on my callback list. 20 people that I like, 20 of the models that I liked, or 20 of the actors that I like, whatever event I'm at. Then I'll have conversations with each one. And my goal is to try to find one or two good people. That's
Okay.
my goal. So because I don't know who you are, if I see you on stage performing, I don't know who you are as a person, right? So that's another reason. Why I say that a lot of this industry, you guys, is not just about your performance. It's about you as a person, right?
Right.
We all want to work with really good people. We want to work with people that are going to be easy to work with, people that we can trust, and people that will respond to us when we reach out to them. And we want our jobs to be easy because we make a commission whenever our clients book something. So we don't ever get paid until our clients book. So guess what? We want easy clients.
Yeah.
You know. So, and I'm sure that's the case for all businesses who deal with clients. Everybody wants easy clients. Especially agents and managers, since we don't get paid until the client actually books something. So that's why we want extra easy clients. So yeah, so that would be their callback success rate. If she told you, hey, we had an 86%, that might have been like the last event, kind of quoting some numbers from one of their previous events. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to translate to this event, but I would imagine if they're doing the same process of finding good people, that it would probably be similar to that.
Yeah, but like you said, those agencies are there because they're looking for talent. Otherwise, they wouldn't show up and waste their time. They're
Right,
serious.
exactly. Yes, exactly. Because
we're serious too.
yeah, and the thing is everybody wants good clients, right? And so when you're not in a position to book anybody new, you're not going to attend these events because again, it's just you would rather do something else on the weekend than
Yeah.
So when you're there to find good clients.
That's good to know. I mean, that's good for us to know. When we're talking to them, we know they're just as serious as we are, So
Yeah, for sure. And again, when I create a callback list, I don't expect to sign everybody. My goal is just to meet all of those people on that callback list, have a conversation with them, make sure they're somebody I would want to work with, right? I might start a conversation with somebody, and this has happened before, and 5 minutes into the conversation, I'm thinking, okay, this isn't somebody that I'm going to pursue based on what we're talking about here, right? So yeah, so always keep it vague when you guys do get those callbacks with any agent or any showcase you're at. Always keep your answers real light, real positive, and easy to digest. And I know I explained this on one of the other sessions once, but not all of you were there on that session, but we kind of talked about that a little bit. If they ask you a very like matter of fact questions like, hey, Jen, if I needed you to be at a casting in LA Friday at 10 a.m., could you do it? Right?
Yes.
If they, yeah, exactly. That's the answer, right? You got it. Sometimes agents and managers will ask those types of questions just to see what the response is. And obviously, yes, perfect. Jen, where do you live, by the way?
I'm in Florida. I'm in Orlando.
Okay, so obviously not in LA, but the answer was that was the correct answer, yes, because it's a hypothetical question. They're just asking to see if it's something that you would say yes to. They don't have an opportunity for you but in LA on Friday. They just want to know. And some people will answer that question and be like, oh, there's no way I can make it on my Friday. I got work. I got the kids I have to grab, my sister's kids I have to grab from school. And at 2:00, I told her, and they start getting into all this like deep stuff. But yeah, the correct answer was yes. I like it. You're well prepared. I found that post I was talking about earlier. It was from Layla Welsh. Are you here today? Is she here? Does anybody see a Layla Welsh? I don't see her. Anyway, she posted on the lounge yesterday. Pensacola Fashion Week. I just put on my very first show as a designer at age 15, and she posted a photo of it. So it looked like it just happened this weekend. So I thought that was amazing. That's fantastic. Here's a 15-year-old in our lounge doing Pensacola Fashion Week. So, anyways, those are the types of things that I want to see posted, right? And then, of course, that's an opportunity for you guys to reach out and be like, "Oh, that's so cool. Do you have photos on Instagram?" And then you'd be able to find out where her Instagram is, and it might be in her profile already. And then you can go on to that profile, and all of you guys can be following each other on Instagram as well. Reaching out, seeing your posts, and that's a great way for you guys to start becoming friends. You start seeing each other here weekly, and then you see each other, at the online virtually. And I think that kind of circles back around to what Don Benjamin was telling us when he was here is he wanted to become more friendly with people and easy to have conversation with. So he started making it a habit whenever he went out of his house he forced himself to have conversations with people. And I think that the more you do that, the more natural it feels and the more easy it becomes. So next time you're at the grocery store, think to yourself, okay, I'm gonna have a conversation with the clerk, or next time you're at, getting a coffee with the barista. And so as you're standing in line, you could be watching them work and thinking, okay, what can I say? What can I ask her? Other than how her day is going, let me ask her something different, Oh, I like her nails. Ooh, I love your nails when you get up to the counter. I love your nails. Those are great. Very Octoberish or whatever. So you have to, if you're not naturally the type of person that's just outgoing, friendly, you have to get in the habit of doing that. Well, it looks like we're actually getting close to, I'm a little bit over time today, but I'm going to go ahead and end it there. I don't see any other hand raised, but it was great seeing you guys. I'm going to make sure that Josh is on the next one because I know you guys miss him. I'm going to message him in the lounge and say that you miss him so much, and then he'll be on the next. No, I don't know what his production schedule is like. He might not be able to make it. But if he's not on the next week, I'm definitely changing this to Tuesdays with Jeremy and maybe Josh. All right. So that's what the new post will say. But it's good seeing everybody. I hope you guys have a great week. And I look forward to seeing some of you at your showcases coming up here in the near future. Happy October, even though it's not October yet. October 1st is tomorrow. So happy October, everybody. Good seeing you guys. And next time I see you guys will be in October. So have a good month. Bye, guys.